NCR has the opportunity to give you the kind of scale maybe your entire South Korea can. I think if you have the right attitude, skills can be taught. There's a product called PSafe, which is selling on its own. It's sold almost 1 lakh units in 3.5 years. We've grown that pie now from 0.3% of the total market to now nearly 10% of the total market. We're chasing how do we hit nearly 100 million customers in the next 5 years.
If anyone can send me how to make people make or buy PSafe again and again and use that again and again, that person is hired.
I would suggest that it's better to now launch products on quick commerce directly. Fem hygiene evolution and the kind of stuff that Korea did, for instance, in pads, in even last 1 century West could do, right? A lot of time they would think about how come two men are coming and talking about women hygiene with us. The first year of our operation, we did barely 2 crores in like a whole year.
Learned a lot, learned about how to expand in GT, learned how to manage a warehouse overall, learned how things come in, how they procure, how they sell, how each of their channels send out different things, and the logistics of it as well.
Got to learn more things from the founders itself, who are itself building the product.
Hello Ritesh, welcome to First Principles by HiveSchool, where we the students go on grounds to decode different businesses like yours.
Thank you for coming down.
Yeah, so before asking you for a quick intro, I'll take a step back. I think we all would like to know what was your journey before PSafe and what led you to stepping into the shoes of a co-founder actually.
No, thank you. Firstly, I mean, my journey was very different. I come from a family where nobody's ever done anything of their own. My entire paternal side had served in the forces. It's my cousins are the 4th generation. My entire maternal side had served in the Navy. So they only knew defense forces, nothing else beyond it. And there was some bit of expectation from me as well that I will kind of go in and join the forces as well. But somehow I never really, as a kid I was very intrigued, but I think while growing up I realized the hardships and maybe there was an interest about doing something which can have larger impact. I think which is where I thought about getting into startups. When I was looking up in terms of what can be done to actually build a startup, and this is like as early as like my 11th or 12th. By the way, I was studying science, so there was no way I could have built something in just by sort of not studying business, and therefore I decided in my school that I will go in and study business. Interestingly, I made through a college called Shahid Sukhdev College of Business Studies, right. CBS. Few people know about it, but it's one of the, I think, the best undergrad business school that operates in India, and I think that's where I had the immense amount of learning. And I was out and about the whole time when I was in college. So the first year, of course, I was studying, but after the first year, I had kind of had enough exposure, and I was like, now I need to go out there and do something. And which is when I met with an interesting gentleman named Rohit Chawla, who's currently building a company called Innovist. They've got 3 or 4 brands. Right. And Rohit had just come back from London, so he was figuring out a startup here. He built an incubation called iLabs. Right. It's a startup incubator. I'm talking 2015, some of you might still be like in early days of school. But there we built 4 startups, almost for a year. But unfortunately, none of them worked out. But we got a lot of learning during that time. Later, Rohit introduced me to somebody named Dheeraj Jain. Dheeraj was one of the investors in his other startup, which he had started in 2016 called the Man Company. And Dheeraj was running a fund called Redcliffe Capital.
Okay.
An early stage consumer focused fund. I got to be a part of it as well, and which is where the journey began, which is how the discovery of PSafe sort of happened. Okay. I was evaluating Safety Cart, which is an e-commerce platform which was being built by Vikas, and there we found that there's a product called PSafe, which is selling on its own. It's sold almost 1 lakh units in 3.5 years without any serious marketing money spent on it, and it's got getting organic repeats.
Right.
And that's when it struck us that a product which can sell on its own without any marketing spend, on just on word of mouth, can have a massive scale. And therefore Dheeraj, in fact, at that point in time, decided to collaborate with Vikas and build this into a brand. And later I came on board as one of the founding members, eventually became co-founder. And there wasn't much fun on the other side of the table where you were evaluating the startups and giving yarn.
Right.
And I think fun was there in terms of when we were building something, and we were able to see the impact of it almost on a daily basis. I come from a small town called Bareilly, where I've grown up until the age of 16 and a half, and then rest 11 and a half years I've spent in NCR.
Yeah, long journey though. But the space you're building in is itself a very discomfort to people to even talk about. So what actually led you to understand the problem and the insight?
I think so. The first product was kind of built with a personal incident of Vikas and Shrishna. But I think beyond that, once we had those first set of customers, right, we could always go back and interact with them and figure out what else they were facing problems with, right? So interestingly, the second product that we launched after this was a panty liner in 2018, and during that time, panty liner as a category practically did not really exist in India, and the few people who were using it were actually using brands that were being imported into India. So they were not really made for the Indian use case, not for the Indian, in fact, size and shape as well. And so we kind of innovated the product in the sense that it becomes well suited for the Indian size. We made it slightly longer in length, we made it straight, we made it slightly thicker because we were using it for their menstrual cycle and not for their rest of the cycle, excluding menstrual cycle. So I think that's how we kind of started off in the fem hygiene category. Then when we did this product, we realized, okay, intimate wash or feminine washes, the category is growing. Right. There's only one large brand that was doing it during that time, we wash, and they were selling a chemical based one. And through doctors, we were like, the decision making of buying this product should not be entirely doctor led. Therefore, they can be an over the counter or a self-prescribed other product, and therefore we launched an Ayurvedic intimate wash.
So the market now feels quite big. So was it the same when you started it, or like were you not confident about it? Like,
no, I think we were doing very counterintuitive things. Okay. I'll be honest about this. Right. When people were going towards larger TAM categories, right, we were going the exact opposite route. Everybody was doing Tel Sabun shampoo. We were doing stuff that nobody was talking about, nobody had heard of, and we were trying to introduce these categories into India, or rather build these categories from scratch for the world. And so when we started out this, and let me talk about just women hygiene as a category, it was roughly 3,500 or 3,000 odd crores, out of which 99.7% was sanitary pads. Only 0.3% was everything else. We could have very well chosen to get into sanitary pads and just focus on that and then build it. But we decided we'll focus on this 0.3% because women are looking for alternatives to pads. In fact, most of them did not even know that there were other alternatives available until during that time. And so we focused on that. We've grown that pie now from 0.3% of the total market to now nearly 10% of the total market. Okay. And that market, which is earlier 3,000 crores, is now upward of 8,000 crores. Okay. Right? And in the space which is excluding pads, we're the market leaders.
But another thing I wanted to ask you about was your marketplaces. You're at D2C, you're at pharma retail and all of that. Which one gave you early traction? And what was the rationale behind all these channels?
I think the early traction came in from two, I would say, channels. One was Amazon. So unlike, my perception in the market is that we're a D2C brand, but we've never really built it the D2C way. Right. D2C is like less than 3% of our overall scale, right? And we've been an omni-channel brand since day one. We went into stores when we launched a product on Amazon, for that matter. So we saw success in both the channels, and offline works in a manner where the longer you are in the store, the higher chances that you will sell more.
Right.
So so for instance, any new brand that's trying to attempt offline, you'll have to operate with a lot of patience. So it doesn't immediately give you response. You start small, you start with fewer stores, but you have to kind of continue building on and be very disciplined and patient in the journey. But yeah, so Amazon gave us sort of good early green shoots, and so did pharmacy stores, so did some of the departmental stores within NCR.
We are a revenue focused V school. We have to talk about money as well. So how do you allocate money currently, along all these marketplaces that you're doing, and what's your biggest revenue driver?
So we're not really very heavy on performance marketing spend.
Okay.
We've, contrary to again most D2C brands who operate at 30, 40, 50% marketing spends, performance marketing spends to the revenue, our spends would be probably like early teens, 10 or 12 or 14 max. Right. And I think one of the reasons for our profitability is also because we've not burnt a lot of money on Meta and Amazon, etc. So we and even when we want to maximize, I think the guidance to the team is keep this ROAS or ad spends ROAS same, and then maximize as much as possible, right? So we've and in terms of allocation, I think right now, because the business is getting it's now kind of split into 1/3 each. So 1/3 e-commerce, 1/3 quick commerce, 1/3 offline. So our money is also nearly split in the same fashion. Maybe slightly higher towards marketplaces, because we kind of started building those early on, and some of them have become slightly dependent on marketing spends as well. Competition's grown, the cost per click has grown, and therefore maybe the spend going on to marketplaces in terms of performance could be like 40%, whereas the rest is maybe, I don't know, like a 30 each.
Right. So compared to your the products, everything that you all have, what is the product that's giving you the most contribution margin, the hero product in that sense, and why?
So both in terms of revenue, contribution margin, net profit, the toilet seat sanitizer, which is what we started off with, the first one on the top row, is the highest contributor. It's roughly 18% of our total revenue. So we don't have too many products, right? So we have to make do with fewer products, and we try and maximize, go deeper into category and build them. So 5 products do 50% of our revenue.
Okay.
Right?
And this is like what products exactly?
The ones that I kept, the reason I've kept them on top, these 2 rows,
Right.
is 50% of the revenue. Unique products like panty liners, menstrual cup, pads, period panties, TSS. That's it.
Nice.
Do you take inspiration from the West, like any type?
Not so much from the West, to be honest. There's more inspiration from the East today, and I frankly believe that West is not innovating as much as East is, and especially in some of the categories like fem hygiene, evolution, and the kind of stuff that Korea did, for instance, in pads. I don't think in even last 1 century West could do, right? So West were predominantly innovators who introduced these products, and then they kept changing the innovation and they kept moving on to newer things. So every 1 or 2 decades you would find a new category getting introduced. And that is why in the West, and especially in our category, you will find that pads is not that big. It's the tampons that are big. The reusable panties, etc., are bigger as well. In the West, I think you see so much innovation happening just within pads. So, and it's not like they're not buying and using other products as well, but I think they're just they're able to, the speed of execution, the speed of innovation is way higher, and therefore it's they're able to very quickly kind of hit the nail and then scale it.
Right.
Yeah.
So quick rapid fire round has to be fun. Okay. So, is what you see when you're hiring a fancy MBA or someone who's just street smart?
Street smart.
And what do you mean by that? What's street smart for you?
I think, I mean, it's not like I don't fancy people who are from an MBA institute. I think it is that for us, honestly, the degree has never mattered as much as the mindset that the person has, right?
Right.
So I think if you have the right attitude, skills can be taught.
And what was the worst or the funniest reaction from somebody, like maybe an investor or a stakeholder, when you were pitching a product? Or
A lot of time they would think about how come two men are coming and talking about women hygiene with us, and a lot of time actually they were very uncomfortable when we were talking about some of these things, right? Because they were also mostly men. Interestingly, each time somebody is invested in us, the key decision maker was a woman, because
Okay.
she could understand the pain point
Right.
that we were trying to solve.
what was harder for you, the first 1 crore or the first maybe
50 crore.
50 crores?
Both. The first year of our operation, we did barely 2 crores in like a whole year. Yeah. So I think both were.
Okay.
I don't think the life gets easier anytime. So don't think
Okay.
that okay, I've hit the first crore and then maybe a crore to 10 will be relatively easier.
Right.
I think it's as hard.
Your favorite department, marketing or sales?
I mean, we don't. So we don't have a bifurcation as such between, say, marketing
Okay.
and
Right.
sales. It's the same team. We've got channel leads, so they're responsible for marketing and sales within that channel. And then there's a brand marketing team, and I'm not biased.
You cannot say that also. The team member standing here. As a platform, LinkedIn versus Instagram?
I'm frankly dead on both. You know, I feel, but I would spend, I think, equal time on both, just as a consumer. So they're like my source of knowledge and news, etc. And but yeah, I think from a business lens, of course, LinkedIn. Yeah, for the brand, Instagram.
Definitely. And when it comes to decision making, gut feeling or data?
80% data, 20% gut feeling. Yeah.
And okay, we'll end with what was your biggest mistake that maybe you've done, or maybe some of us can avoid when building intent.
Like I told you, we did a brand called Raho Safe, which was which was trying to solve for the bottom of the pyramid, which had not adopted any fem hygiene product or pads. And the idea there was to launch economical or low cost pads. And we launched an exceptional product, instant PMF, instant scale, 0 to 1 crore, 6 months, everything was good. But we realized that we were a brand which was based in the metro city. Most of the team was in the metro city. We knew how this set of consumers kind of behave, and we were used to doing business in a rather more professional manner.
Right.
So when we were building Raho Safe, somewhere in the journey it struck us that we'll have to create two different organizations altogether. One who's focused on more tier 1 and tier 2, and the other org could be maybe focused on tier 3, and both require different mindset, different kind of capital. And so we took and we also realized that when we got into some of these I would say towns and rather even villages, during that time the incumbents hadn't thought that there was a market existing there.
Right.
So we kind of went in, did education, got people to use the product, and then realized that now the incumbents are coming after us. So heavy competition, org difference, these are some of the reasons why from that scale of upwards of 1 crore, we decided to shut it and eventually discontinued the brand. Yeah, so that's been our biggest mistake. So focus on what you know, not
Right.
what you feel is very large. And
If anyone can send me how to make people make or buy PSafe again and again and use that again and again, that person is higher.
Learned a lot, learned about how to expand in GT, learned how to manage a warehouse overall, learned how things come in, how they procure, how they sell, how each of their channels send out different things, and the logistics of it as well.
Got to learn more things from the founders itself, who are itself building the product.